We are back yet again with the Week 15 record predictions for the NFL. And before we get into things, I have to make a brief announcement. Tristan, wave hi to the audience, Tristan, will be transitioning behind the cameras in the future because I'm replacing him with Chargers former head coach Brandon Staley, who undoubtedly will be unemployed in the very near future.
He is unemployed.
Did he already get fired?
Yes, he got fired. I'm surprised you didn't even know this yet.
Well, I put my phone on airplane mode so we can record, so I'm not tuned into these things prior to the podcast. But Brandon Staley's gone. He's taking Tristan's place. You're going to get much better edited and probably slightly less interesting predictions and podcasts coming at you very soon. Anyway, first game of the week. On Saturday, Minnesota Vikings headed on up to Cincinnati to face off against the Bengals. And we saw how good this Vikings defense is. They held the Raiders to 0 points. The Raiders just scored 63 points on the Chargers. That unit alone is enough to terrorize any backup quarterback. For that reason and that reason alone, I don't care what quarterback Minnesota trots out there. I don't care what running backs we're trotting out there. I don't care if Jefferson's playing or not. This is going to be another low-scoring, gritty game. Maybe Nick Mullins comes in and saves us. Maybe he doesn't. But the Vikings are weighing this due to their overwhelming defense.
Is Jake Browning playing this week?
Who knows? Who cares?
If he is playing, he's playing at such a higher level than what Vikings quarterbacks are currently playing at. So all they got to do is get the ball to Jamar Chase a couple times. Joe Mixon has been playing great. They're playing in Cincinnati, so I think I'm going to go with the Bengals in this one to win that game.
Home field advantage, my ass. Those Bengals fans are ridiculously fair weather. That stadium is empty whenever Joe Burrow's not playing for them. That ain't a home field advantage.
We'll see if Nick Mullins can pull it out.
We can only hope.
Steelers heading to Indianapolis to play the Colts. And this is one where the Colts feel like they haven't been playing good. Mitch Trubisky is not doing good in place of Kenny Pickett. The offense all year long has not been all that exciting. And the Colts on the other side of the field, they've been getting things done with Gardner Minshew. They're not the best team in the NFL by any stretch of the imagination, but they've been very solid. And my instinct is to pick the Colts. But then you have to factor in the fact that Mike Tomlin has never gone below 500. He always has a winning season. It feels like their floor is always higher than everyone else's. So I'm going to pick the Colts, but this feels like the game where if the Colts don't play so great, the Steelers get another win and get to that above 500 status, or at least 500 this year.
Because that's all we care about in the wide world of sports. Going 500. Not making the playoffs, not winning the Super Bowl. Mike Tomlin is all about going 500. Give me the Indianapolis Colts here. Steelers ain't winning this one. Next final game of Saturday, Denver taking on Detroit. And a lot is being made of Detroit losing on the road outside of the Chicago Bears, but this game's at home in a dome, which means Jared Goff is going to cook. Particularly that Broncos defense. I know it's been improved in recent weeks. They've been dealing with a few injuries. The Detroit wide receivers and Sam Laporta are itching to get active. And Aiden Hutchinson feels like he might pick himself up yet another sack. Maybe he'll run another really terrible stunt and let Russell Wilson sneak in for a touchdown. Who knows? But I'm taking the Lions in this one. They're not getting wolfed by a team in orange 2 weeks in a row.
There's a reason they have 9 wins. Their offense is very good, and they're much better at home. And the Broncos, it feels like a game where they get boat raced. Yes, they have been better. Yes, the defense is a lot better. But playing this Lions offense with these different Lions pieces at home, Jared Goff, St. Brown, Jameson Williams might get his one big play he has every 5 games. So I would also pick the Lions to win that one.
It's time to let Jameson Williams go, by the way.
What?
It's time to let the love you had for him prior to his draft class go. He is sailing off into the land of irrelevance.
It has not looked great, much like Quentin Johnston.
Quentin Johnston had better stats his rookie year.
Jameson Williams didn't even play.
Correct.
Falcons headed to Carolina, our home state where we reside. And the tickets to this game, I think, are ranging anywhere from 29 cents to $14. It's not going to be a good game. The Panthers are atrocious. I think there's an argument to be made. The Panthers are the worst team of all time, considering the fact they don't even have their first-round pick, so there's no reason for them to try and lose. They have a quarterback who they want to be their franchise quarterback, and in spite of wanting to win as much as possible, you can make no argument for a tank. They just keep losing.
Hey, those second-round picks could be valuable. An early second is basically a late first.
Never know.
Diamonds in the rough.
They're going to lose this game. They don't stand much of a chance. Desmond Ridder, maybe he'll... Although the Panthers' defense has been solid at points. But Panthers are going to win.
Yeah.
Or Panthers are going to lose.
Falcons are probably winning with this one. I will say this Panthers team bullies the Sean Kaiser's Cleveland Browns team. the year they win 0-16. It's not the worst team ever. It's just really bad. I'll take the Falcons. Wouldn't be surprised if Arthur Smith managed to lose this one for the Dirty Birds, but I'll go with the Atlanta crowd. Anyway, Chicago taking on Cleveland, two teams which have failed to achieve the lofty expectations set upon them at the start of the year. The Browns, due to their quarterback stinking. The Bears, due to the general stinkage on management, coaches, quarterbacks. Pretty much everything's wrong in Chicago. 5-win team. I think the Browns defense is going to bully Justin Fields. The receivers aren't going to be open deep. DJ Moore is not going to get cooking, and they're going to get so much pressure on Fields, he is going to turn the ball over at least 2, maybe 4 times. I'm taking the Browns at home in this one.
Well, they just gave Joe Flacco a little bit bigger of a payday, adding on to this season. And I know it's heavily incentive-laden, but this is where Joe, he gets his money.
He's about to pick up an incentive this week.
He's not going to play that great. The Bears, they're on fire. Their defense has been much better. Their run defense is very good. DJ Moore, because it would benefit me greatly in fantasy, is going to score a pair of touchdowns against this Browns defense. The Bears are going to get it going, and they're going to continue towards a playoff push in that NFC.
Wrong and bias. Goodness. Browns are going to bully them.
Next up, Buccaneers versus the Packers, who got beat last week by Tommy Palms. The Giants decimated
by 4 points.
The Giants destroyed the Packers last week. Now they're having to play the Buccaneers. Luckily, they're in home, and for that reason, they're going to win again. Or they're going to win this week. The Buccaneers, they're a warm weather team. They're not a cold weather team. They're not going to do well playing in that Green Bay weather. The Packers, Aaron Jones may be back this week. The young receivers are going to get things going on the offensive side of the ball. I like their defense. Buccaneers don't have the worst defense, but the Packers should win.
So you're telling me a team whose strength is their offensive and defensive lines, their running game, and whose number one receiver is a massive-bodied individual who can play without gloves. That team's not a cold-weather team just because they play in Florida. All right. Give me the Buccaneers in this one. A little bit of surprise, a little bit of upset. Next up, we got the New York Jets taking on the Miami Dolphins. And there's been a lot made of, Aaron Rodgers is running bootlegs in practice this week. I say feed him to the fish on this one. Let him go out there. We are talking about Aaron Rodgers in Week 15 when he tore his Achilles in Week 1. We're still talking about this backup quarterback who's not going to play the rest of the year. I say make him go out there. Make him go play the Dolphins. Let him get sacked 1,000 times. Zach Wilson had the best game of his career last week, and now we're talking about Aaron Rodgers again. Fire Saleh. Fire everyone in that building. Fire the GM. And give Zach Wilson the help he desperately needs. I'm tired of hearing about Aaron Rodgers. Dolphins by $8 million.
They're playing in Miami, so that doesn't exactly help the Jets. Tyreek Hill is coming off an injury where he got banged up last week. Zach Wilson had the best year of his career. So for those game of his career, possibly the best year of his career, just based off of that one game. Doesn't matter that he got benched. He hasn't been great at any point in his career.
Pretty good years at BYU.
Well, that would be college. This is his NFL professional football career.
Probably got some Mormon money in college.
Coming off the best game of his career, they're playing a division rival. The defense hasn't been quite what it was last year, but it's still been solid this season. Zach Wilson, he's finally realized that he doesn't need to think that much. He just needs to go out there and play ball. Use his instincts, throw Garrett Wilson the ball. Maybe occasionally he can get the ball to Breece Hall, occasionally to his tight ends, and then they have a chance at winning. Zach Wilson is going to have a great game this week, and they're going to find a way to beat the Dolphins, who are going to struggle without...
Now, are you trying to miss every pick this week or just a few?
I'm hitting on every pick this week.
You have not hit on a single pick this week.
The games haven't even happened yet.
And I know you were thinking the Raiders were going to lose. I know you had that in your head. I know you're a big Easton Stick fan. That is an Easton Stick fan if I ever seen him.
Sure.
Aiden O'Connell looks a lot like you, which is why you have been rooting against him all year.
Okay.
You look a lot like Aiden O'Connell.
No, I don't.
Side-by-side comparison, please.
Yeah, I'll totally edit that for you.
Hey, oh, please. It takes 10 seconds to edit that.
Giants headed down to New Orleans. I keep saying Danny. Tommy DeVito, the Italian stallion, is on a 3-game winning streak. Undrafted rookie. He's reinvigorated that Giants locker room. He's got that offense firing at a new level. Darren Waller may play again this week. On the Saints side of the field, Taysom Hill is the only chance they have at beating this Giants team. Because the Giants, they have one of the better run defenses in the NFL thanks to Dexter Lawrence. Taysom Hill banged up with injury. Even if he's playing, he's not going to have a great chance at putting the Saints in the game. Derek Carr has been banged up. Kayvon Thibodeau.
You're not going to mention Jameis?
Kayvon Thibodeau, most sacks as a Giant since JPP played for the Giants, I think in 2016. A long time ago, has 12 sacks this year. He's going to get after it. Azeez Ojulari's finally healthy. He's been doing his thing. Wan'Dale Robinson emerged last week. The Giants are going down to the Saints, going down to New Orleans, and they're getting a win.
Tristan, you know Kayvon Thibodeau has possibly the least impactful sacks in all of football. On 3rd and 20, when there's no chance of them picking up the first down 3 touchdowns, that is when Kayvon Thibodeau eats. When there is no pressure and nothing but an opportunity to stat pad, that is when you always bet on Kayvon Thibodeau. Giants do not have this one. The Cinderella story ends here. Say I hate Italian Americans. Say I hate the Giants. Say whatever you want. They ain't winning this week. I hate to break it to you. I really do. Texans taking on the Titans. And normally I'd say, Texans got the better quarterback. Some would say the better offensive line. Maybe the better running game. It's hard to say. Really, it is. But the Tennessee Titans are wearing their old Houston Oilers jerseys. An ultimate sign of disrespect. Spitting in the face of the Houston franchise. And for that and that reason alone, I am picking the Titans to win this. I don't care that Will Levis had the best game of his young career. I don't care that Derrick Henry started to pick up momentum. I don't care that Mike Vrabel is coaching for his life. I don't care about any of this stuff. The mere fact they are wearing those Houston Oilers jerseys in Tennessee as the home team is enough for me to say they're going to beat the Texans.
I would have to agree with Isaiah on this one. The Texans, it feels like they're floundering. Tank Dell, we know he's not coming back this year. Nico Collins banged up with an injury. CJ Stroud got banged up last week. So I don't feel like the Texans will be ready to play the Titans this week. I feel like the Titans are going to come out firing. They just came off a win. I think Will Levis, Derrick Henry, Tajay Spears, they're cooking a little bit on offense recently. So I think they maybe carry that into this game and win. Now, we have the Chiefs headed to New England to play the Patriots.
I wonder what's going to happen in this one.
I mean, I've said it every
The way you've been picking this week, I have expected you to pick the Patriots. You going to get one right here?
You think I should pick the Patriots?
It would be very on brand for what I've been picking this week.
Oh, okay. Bill Belichick, reportedly not going to be the coach after the season comes to a close. It sounds like the Patriots may want to part ways with him. Are those reports true?
Probably
I don't know.
not.
But they're playing the Chiefs at home. Is this a game where Bill Belichick comes out with a master game plan against the Super Bowl winners last year? The Chiefs haven't scored 21 points in their last 5 games. Offense has been rough, to say the least. And that's not going to matter. The Chiefs are going to win. I went on that long diatribe to try and throw you off a little bit, but...
throw me off, confused the viewers, though. I'm confused on why we're still talking about
zig
this
and
game.
zag a little bit, you know?
Yeah, you zagged when you should have zigged. The Chiefs are going to obliterate the Patriots. The final score may not reflect it because of that sneaky good defense, but we know it's going to happen. Taylor Swift may be in attendance. Travis Kelce has been attending his practices. Chiefs are going to win. Not a controversial take. Good job. You got one right.
Thank you.
You know, that's the... God, I can't remember his name. Dude from... Forget it. I'll remember the bit later than randomly cut you off with a basketball reference on this football podcast. Anyway, 49ers taking on the Cardinals. And Kyler Murray, been playing all right, been playing well. The numbers may not reflect, but if you watch those Cardinals games, you know he's got them in a lot of shootouts. A lot of high-scoring shootouts, maybe not, but he's still got them playing in games. Having said that, the 49ers are just going to roll over the Arizona Cardinals. What are we talking about here? Where's the defense on Arizona? Isaiah Simmons is no longer there to save the day. There's not anyone in that building who can stop what the 49ers are about to do to them offensively. 49ers by a million here. I don't care if they're on the road or not.
I love that you gave Isaiah Simmons some praise there by proxy through saying there's no one there to save the Cardinals defense.
Well, I don't think Isaiah Simmons will have saved him either in truth, but he's just the first name which came to mind.
They wouldn't save him.
Great first name.
Cardinals, I think they might have a bright future. If I'm them, I'm sticking with Kyler Murray come draft time. But they're going to get obliterated this week. The 49ers are going to take care of business. Commanders versus the Rams. And Isaiah, he's been beefing a little bit with Sam Howell fans in videos on TikTok and YouTube Shorts. They're not a big fan of him. they're not willing to admit that Sam Howell, he has some flashes with Eric Bieniemy as his offensive coordinator, but he has a lot of bad plays, and he's playing behind a bad offensive line, which does not help. And their defense, since they traded away their pass rushers, has not been good. So they're playing a Rams team who has gotten a lot better ever since Kyron Williams has got back. He has made their run game a lot more effective. He's made their passing attack a lot more effective. So the Rams in LA should win in a landslide.
I agree. I don't really have much to say to that. Commanders not a special team by any means. I'll take LA as well. Game of the week potentially right here. Dallas Cowboys taking on the Buffalo Bills, and the Bills just beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Who cares if it was in controversial fashion? That extra foot Kadarius Toney had really is what set him loose in that game-winning touchdown, which wasn't. Versus the Dallas Cowboys, maybe the hottest team in the NFC, just beat up on their arch rival, the Eagles. Gonna be a great game. I'm picking the Bills just because they're at home in this one. The weather is going to be a factor. I think that'll be enough to knock Dak Prescott off his game plan. Truly an elite quarterback by all means. An elite quarterback battle. Maybe a better quarterback battle than we saw last week. But I'm taking Buffalo. I just got a feeling about this one in my gut that the Bills are going to be able to pull this one out. Keep them playoff hopes alive. It may hurt the Cowboys' chance at the 1 seed or the 2 seed or avoiding the wild card, but still, I'm taking the Bills. I got a good feeling about Josh. I got a good feeling about Ed Oliver this game.
I got the exact opposite feeling this week because I do not believe in the Bills' defense to stop a Cowboys offense that has been rolling. I've reiterated it almost every podcast. Jake Ferguson, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, Tony Pollard, Rico Dowdle, however you pronounce it, Dak Prescott, their offense is on fire. Bills defense is not the greatest in the world with all the injuries they've suffered this year, so I expect the Cowboys to win.
Why do you keep name dropping a dude whose name you don't know? I just don't say him.
Because I like to give him some credit because he has been good in the touches he gets.
Then look up his name if you want to give him some credit. Jeez.
People know who I'm talking about.
Sure.
Now, one of the games probably the game I'm looking forward to most this week, Ravens taking on the Jaguars in Jacksonville. It is going to be really interesting to see how the Jaguars offense does against this Baltimore defense, considering the fact they lost Christian Kirk, who's on the IR. Is Parker Washington, is Zay Jones going to step up and kind of fill his role in the offense? Evan Ingram balled out last week, so I'm really interested to see how they do against this Baltimore defense. But my hopes are not high for that actually taking place. I believe much more in the Ravens offense. We know the Ravens defense is great, so I think the Ravens are going to win.
Home field advantage, I think, is going to play a decent factor in this game. It's going to be a close matchup. The Jaguars not going to get blown out of the water like some people might think. Ravens are atop the AFC for a reason. They're a really good football team. Jacksonville gives them a game, but paired to that lingering Trevor Lawrence injury and him missing his number one receiver, I think Baltimore ultimately triumphs in this one. Final game of the week, Monday Night Football, Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle, a battle of the birds. And maybe if the Seahawks had solidified their offensive line in the offseason, they could hang with the Eagles offensively. That's not going to happen. They are going to get smoked in large part due to the strength of that Eagles interior defensive line and its pass rush. Fletcher Cox, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis are going to all get after Geno Smith. I don't care that Jordan Davis is normally only a 2-down player. He is still going to be in the backfield making an impact. As for the Eagles offense, look, if you can't score on the Seattle Seahawks defense, abandon all hope. I think they'll be able to get it done, but this really will be the benchmark. If they can't put up 30 points on this trash Seahawks secondary, this trash Seahawks defensive line and linebacker core, with old man Bobby Wagner being arguably their best defender, it's over for them. They're done. I think the Eagles will win, but at the same time, we will learn a lot about them based off this game.
If the Eagles lose this game, the NFL Playoff Committee might as well take them out of the playoffs.
The NFL Playoff Committee.
If there was one. Drew Lock, he may be playing this week because Geno Smith is still dealing with that groin injury. So if Drew Lock is in there and you lose to Drew Lock in that Seahawks offense, you got a big problem. I don't think you have any chance of winning in the first round of the playoffs. Now, if Geno Smith is out there, the Seahawks have a much better chance at winning, but I do not think they're going to win. The Eagles just came off a big loss to a division rival. Nick Sirianni, he can't be happy right now in that locker room. He's going to have those Eagles ready to play. They're going to go out there to Seattle and win the game.
Well, folks, that has been our predictions. We will actually come revisit this one because I think Tristan's picks have been woeful. We'll talk about this next week in the predictions, who got more right or wrong. All-time stinker by you, by the way. I just want to further put that out there. What happened to shame?
My hot picks are going to hit this week.
America is watching you lie to them, lie to their faces. It's either lies or delusion. Either way, as long as there's delusion, there is hope, and hope will be lost after this week. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to us on YouTube, TikTok, Spotify, wherever you're seeing this. Your support is greatly appreciated. And be sure to use code Thicc on Underdog with 2 C's to double your first deposit. Sports gambling may be coming to North Carolina, but it's not there yet. So why not do a nice legal alternative in Underdog Fantasy?